Hello everyone. Welcome to my first reading on Mending Wall by Robert Frost. If you enjoy this video and would like to hear from me more often, do subscribe to my channel down below. Alright, first things first. Let's only see the absolutely necessary facts about Robert Frost. He is an American poet widely known as a nature poet. He grew in the city but wrote most of his poems in relation to nature. Why he did so could be a question. One good interpretation would be that he needed an escape from the war, the noise, and industrialization happening around him. Mind you, he lived from 1874 to 1963, and therefore he might have found solace in nature as opposed to the tedious city life he experienced. With that in mind, let's move on to the poem. I will be touching only on the important stanzas, but here's the full poem for you to go through. So the poem starts as, "Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen ground swell under it." Now these lines of the poem evoke curiosity in the reader as to what this something is. The poet seems to be aware of its presence and how it detests walls or boundaries, but the mystery remains because he later declares, "No one has seen them made or heard them made." However, despite this awareness, whether he adhered by the force that tells him to stop is at question, because we hear him say, "I have come after them and made repair." And on a day we met to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. The irony is visible as he voices these lines, and the same self-realization that the reader goes through seems to be experienced by the poet as well. The realization is that his actions and his sense of understanding do not tally. The lines show the baselessness of meeting in order to build a wall. They are meeting up and working together to create and stabilize a division between them. As a result of this confusion, rationale starts to kick in. He declares how there's absolutely no need of a wall because it's not cows that they're rearing to trespass the boundaries. He is all pine and I'm apple orchard. He's pretty sarcastic in this revelation. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pine. As this internal monologue boils to a certain point, a series of questions start to flow that are both rhetoric and are expressed out loud to the neighbor as well. Why do they make good neighbors? Before I build a wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in and walling out, and to whom I was like to give offense. His confusion as to why the neighbor does not understand this simple reality is explained soon after. The saying, "Good fences make good neighbors," that is repeated by the neighbor shows why he has no potential to see, or more likely, why his potential to be rational like the poet is blocked. He sticks to the old norms and traditions and abide by these man-made boundaries simply because it was knowledge passed down the generations, ideally from his father in this case. The poet seems to pity him, this man who trusts hearsay rather than listening to the force that clearly wants the wall down. This is why the poet calls him an old savage armed. It highlights his primitive way of thinking, showing that he is blind to the irrationality of building walls. The line, "He moves in darkness," perfectly showcases his inability to see through and agree to the something that doesn't love a wall, or to the poet who is explaining things to him, or finally to simple common sense. In other words, tradition, culture, and man-made ideologies have made him set both physical and psychological boundaries. By now, it's clear that this force which hates the wall is none other than nature. And like most nature poets, Frost makes nature victorious over man. We see nature helping man, yet another of nature's creations, to lower their walls that are built high in society, hindering relationships. This is why, even to repair, they meet and have a conversation that brings down the figurative wall of hostility. Nature is shown as strong and willful, crafty enough to work unseen. He is never caught in the act of pulling down the wall. This mysteriousness, too, adds weight to characterize nature. In turn, nature is given life. Even better, it's given power over man and the wall, a man-made creation which acts as a symbol of both industrialization and breaking down of human relationships, as well as socio-cultural boundaries. This weighs nature with personality, resulting in an incorporation of divinity with nature as an omnipresent and omnipotent entity. In simple, the message is that nature is all-powerful and works in mysterious ways unknown to man. Man divides, but nature connects and instills peace. Therefore, nature is the force to turn to and abide by. That is the end of my reading on Mending Wall. Hopefully, it helped you to understand and interpret the poem in different ways. Do like and subscribe for more content like this. Add a comment below to connect with me and share your ideas. Thank you. See you soon.